What is up? Welcome to another episode of What's Your Grails. I'm your host, Tony Sanders, and tonight I got not one, but two special guests. You might know them. They are from Three Men in the Basement, also Lords of the Long Box. I got Otto from the Grotto and Nemesis Prime.
What's going
And
on, Tony?
man, it's good to have y'all on here, man. Like to get like, because at first I thought it was just gonna be Otto, and then like Otto was like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey, man, the more the merrier."
The more the merrier. This is like the triple threat match, right? I mean,
Yeah.
a three-way match going on. This is great.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
This
Yeah.
is so epic. I was talking to Tony about this is like 1987, Night of the Skywalkers, the Rock and Roll Express or the Midnight Express versus the Road Warriors, 25 feet in the air on the scaffolding match. When these dudes were up there, Hawk and Animal, they wanted blood. The other guys wanted no part of that. So we're here. We've got tons of books to talk about, man. I'm excited to be on the show with you, Tony. And this has been like almost all summer that we've been planning it.
Yeah. You had vacation. I had vacation.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And I was just like, man, I was like, I wonder if he's like, and you hit me up that day, and I was like, I was wondering if he still wants to come on. And you hit me up. I was like, cool, because like right now, as far as the show goes, it used to be set on Thursdays, but in order to make things happen, I'm moving stuff around, so and you never know when it's gonna pop up.
No, I love it. I love it. This is great. Absolutely.
So I know that you've been like somewhat delving into like DC a lot. Are you a DC guy or are you a Marvel guy, Otto?
I'm a little bit of both. You know what I mean? I could say, it's like the New York Yankees and New York, the Yankees and the Mets. I don't really, I do have a couple DC grails that I'm happy about. I predominantly, I typically collect like the Marvel stuff, the X-Men books, go after that stuff. But really, I do have a couple DC keys that I love because I grew up, I was a product of the 80s. So, the Super Friends, the Justice League, that all stuff is that I absolutely loved watching as a kid. But then as I got older, I got introduced to a character called Wolverine, and I realized he was the baddest dude around. And as we get talking about these books, I do want to share a story later on about Wolverine, and this would be a great what-if story that I was talking to Chris Claremont about at Terrificon. But, I would say I'm 75% Marvel, 25% DC. I know Justin's probably about the exact opposite, right, Justin?
Oh, yeah, I am total opposite. I'm probably like 60% DC, 25 to 30% indie, and then like 10% on the Marvel side.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
more like Miss Marvel,
So
Yeah.
I usually start the show off asking my guests, since there's two of you, I'm gonna ask both of you.
Yeah.
So Otto, what would you consider your holy grail, and have you achieved it already?
Yes, I have. You know what? And when I thought about this, I think it's really funny because when I was a kid and I was collecting as a kid, you wanted to buy everything. You tried to buy everything, and you just couldn't do it. And then my collection started growing, and then I hit high school, and I kind of stopped off a little bit. Then I started raising kids, my family, and stuff like that. And then I started getting back into Instagram, and I was looking at all these people's collections, and it had changed so much. I was like mind blown that you have statues now, you have variants, you have all these other things. And I was like, wow, this is absolutely crazy about how many books there are out there. So, I've got like personal grails that I'm going after, or books that I want to have taken care of and stuff like that. But my holiest of holes, which is the book is going to go in my coffin, and my kids know it, is so they can't resell it or anything like that. And I got it right, and they all know. Can I pull it out? All right, it's right here. I've showed it on Instagram 100 times over. It's my Hulk 181. I'm very fortunate to have it at a 9.2. And this book is going to die with me, all right? This is a book that I worked hard to get. I kind of waited and saved up my pennies and stuff like that. And then when I found it at a good price, I did. It is, if you'll notice, it is cream to off-white pages. So that is the only downfall to it. But for the price I got it at, I'm real happy with it. So this by far is my holy grail. And I'm toying with the idea of sending it to CGC to see if they will, to see if they'll press it and clean it, because I was just listening to how they do. And I'm so like nervous. Well, first of all, I don't want it to leave my property. You know what I mean? That's one thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to leave like my property, but not to name drop. When we were at Terrificon, I was talking to Brittany McManus, who's really the head of the face of CGC. And if I knew I could give this book to her and it would go to her head grader and they would do all the work, that would be one thing. But Tony, if I get a 0.2 bump on it, I know financially it would be great, but I don't know if I can handle the anxiety of giving it up, giving it over to somebody. So this is my holiest of,
and that's like a high grade one too. And that book is like ridiculous right now. And then it like, yeah, I can see where you're talking about the grade bump, but like to send it out, yeah, I can see.
Yes.
Because who you gonna trust? Because USPS, dude. Let me
Right.
tell you about USPS. I sent my Captain Britain #1
Right.
through USPS, and I should have sent the FedEx. I don't know what I was doing. Wasn't thinking, and I sent it through them, and it was like I called CGC. I was like, it'd been like a week, and I was like, yeah, hey, you got my book yet? And they were like,
Right.
no. And then I was
What?
like, and like I'm checking the tracking, and I'm like, nope. And then like it says it's there, right? And then like the tracking says it's there, and they're like, nope, we don't have it. And I'm like, oh my god, like where's this book at? And I go to like the UPS, and I go to like the post office. I'm like, dude, where's this stuff at? And so finally, I get the CGC confirmation, like, and this is like
Yeah.
I'd say about like almost a month later, dude.
Okay.
I was about sick. So luckily the book was, I guess they had the book, but like they just like, I guess it was con season. So like there was a lot
Right.
of comic books. So,
Ugh.
but like, yeah, that's like anything like that, man, drives you crazy. Like when you don't know where something's at.
Right. And you trust everybody's going to do their job, but you get it done on a Friday afternoon and somebody wants to leave early and your book gets missing or stuff like that. So I don't know if I'm necessarily ready for that. So I do have some other books that I do want to show off. We can talk about them later, but I'll let Justin go with his books.
Oh yeah. So Nemesis Prime, Holy Grail.
Affordable Holy Grails, unfortunately, or I should say the ones that are out there that are unattainable, like a Batman 1 to me, Detective 27. Yeah. Those are unattainable, but those are, of course, the grails.
Yeah.
We all come up with our 20, when the new year starts, we all come up with our want lists. So, every year I pick 6, 7, 8 books that I wanted to get as far as a want list book. This year I actually put on a grail onto my 2019 want list, and I did achieve that. And I want to thank the 300 Basement sponsor, Blue Label Comics. He was able to obtain my grail for this year, which was a Brave and the Bold 28 first appearance of the Justice League.
Oh man! Like
now, for a DC guy, I mean, this is definitely a huge book. So this is something that I really wanted. It's something that I was saving for. I was able to get this. Did a great payment plan, layaway planning, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So this book is great. It's it's creamed off-white pages. It's a 3.0. I mean, I am always about, it could be a 2.0 with 2.5, but as long as the colors are bright and the cover is there, I mean, that's what's most important to me. And I mean, this is a bright colored book. I mean, all the characters have bright colors on them. There's no chipping. There's a little spine damage on the side, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is a great book. I don't know if it's
nice.
great, but I love it. So
that is nice.
Yeah.
And I will tell you the problem that I have, like running, like having this show and then doing the other show, The Hunt, is like when you do The Hunt, it's like you literally, when you do The Hunt, you can't show your hand because it's like you can't show your books. So it's like I have literally achieved another grail, but it's an ass whooping for somebody else.
Is it really? Nice.
So I can't show it tonight. It'll make an appearance. So all you guys on The Hunt in 2 weeks, look out, man.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's great. That's awesome.
But I will show this book because you said you are a DC, like you like DC a little bit more. So this one is some Ditko with some DC.
Yeah, there we go. Hawk and Dove.
Nice. Yeah.
Great book. Love it. Love it.
It's a book I'm always after. Unfortunately, I don't have that first appearance of them.
Yeah, and I don't have that either, Tony. And you know what? I like that. That's, I'm a Ditko fan. So any work that he does, man, I really, really enjoy it because it's just good stuff to have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like,
so
this is one that I enjoy to have. Like and that's also been one of like my spec books kind of too.
Yeah, right. Now, where'd you get that, Tony? How'd you find that book? Was that an eBay purchase?
No. My honey hole, my buddy, he owns a shop and like he always he hooks me up on cool deals. Shouts out to Splash Page Comics because he knows the spot when I'm talking about. Splash Page knows. So if anybody knows Splash Page, you might can squeeze it out of him, but you ain't gonna get it from me.
Love it.
So when all right, so you said you were out of collecting for a while. So
yeah.
What got you back in? Like what
really it was really Instagram. Like Instagram, I don't really, because my previous job I really wasn't, it was poo-pooed on to use social media. So I didn't really have Facebook. I didn't really want to use Facebook. So I got into Instagram and I was just, one of my kids' sons showed me how to told me how to use it. Then I saw these hashtags and I'm like, man, look at all these comic books. I got a lot of this stuff. And then I was like, all right. And then I started hashtagging like a bunch of weightlifters. And I'm like, oh my God, there's dudes that weightlift and like comics. I'm like, these are my people. And they drink beer. I'm like, this is the best. Like, I got to find these friends. So, I kind of went full board into it. And I started getting in on like First Appearance Friday and, all the hashtags. And I started getting into it. And then I started following other people. And then I got into like Lords of the Long Box. I started listening to what, TiVo and Darkside Jedi were kicking out. And I was digging that. And I'm like, you know what? I really kind of want to get into that. But a book that I had my whole life that I went through copies of, Tony, and I'm going to share that with you right now, is this isn't the copy itself. I have this raw book. So one of my favorite characters is Deathstroke from the Teen Titans and Teen Titans #2 was his first appearance. Now, I remember as a kid being 12 years old, going to a con with like $30 in my pocket. And this guy had this book for like $6 raw. And, and I'm like, oh my God, this is $6. Like, this is like almost all my money, So I bought that and I held on to it. And I have that book actually double signed by, Wolfman and Perez. That's my own personal copy. I'm not going to send that one out. But then as I started getting back into books, I started checking out, listening to people and, you're hearing about different types of grades and stuff like that. And I was very lucky because, use the term the honey hole, a couple of my buddies were coming upon these books. I don't know where they were. So I bought like 4 or 5 copies and I would send them out. I'd get them pressed. I'd get them sent to CGC and they weren't coming back. They were coming back like 8 5s, 9 2s, 9 4s. And then finally I had 2 left that I said, all right, I'm going to throw these out. Going to get these pressed. They come back. So finally this one came back at a 9.8. And, this is just a perfect book. One of my favorite characters, just really happy to have it. So, obtainable definitely, but I wasn't going to pay full retail for it. I mean, the prices on this have gone up and down. So I was lucky enough, between all the raw books that I bought and the pressing. But again, Tony, if you talk about the hunt, I'm all about the grind, right? I don't mind it. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. I've reversed. Yeah, it's a marathon. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to go after the books. I'm going to find it. And if it goes my way, it goes my way. So this is one of my other personal grails, another book that I love to have in my possession. So just absolutely love it.
Hey, he got a message from the higher up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be waiting for that to come through. So as soon as that comes through, we will definitely drop it right here on the Tony Sanders live show.
All right, yeah. So, man, yeah, that and shout outs to you said that a minute ago. And shout outs to my boy C Woodard from Comic Core. He calls that a newsstand.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Nemesis, man, like I know, like you be showing a lot of variants and stuff. Like you like variants, and so I'm gonna show you some stuff that actually I'm gonna show you one that I just got, and I'm gonna give a shout out to those guys. And they sent me like I don't know who those guys are, but they sent me a sweet box, yesterday, and I did an unboxing. But this was in there, and like I'm a Captain Marvel fan, and like anything Marvel, Miss Marvel, or whatever, I'll roll with it, But they sent me this, and
oh yeah, that's cool. It's the Unknown Comics, I think.
Yeah.
Who did that? Granava, Adi?
I think. I have no idea, but I love it.
That is sick.
I love it. I just love it. And then like this was on the back of it though. This was like, and it's.
Oh, that's great.
That's cool. Yeah. Oh, signed too. That's nice.
So yeah, I was happy about that. Like that's kind of cool. But like but what I was talking about, like when the Captain Marvel thing came out, I kind of like I pulled a Thanatos, and what that means is like you went all in on a book, and you just like bought all kinds of covers on the #1. Yeah. So if this was the hunt, this would be considered a triple slap or a triple move on you. So I'd be like, there's that one.
Nice. I got that. Yeah.
That one. And of course, you can't have your J. Scott Campbells.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, often. So I went all in on that.
So I've tried to kick variants. I've had to be like, if I'm going to buy one, I got to buy them all. And if I got to buy them all or nothing, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I've like tried to stay away, but then next thing you know, I'm picking one up and everybody, these guys are land-based me. You're like, dude, I thought you said you kicked it. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not out of recovery yet,
Yeah.
So Justin, what's your grail for variants?
It's funny. I did bring that as well. So
You did.
Oh,
All
let's
right.
see it. Let's see it.
So yeah, like you said, I collect variants for the I guess I don't know, past 6-7 years. So variants that my grail, and it's probably obviously the most expensive. It's a modern variant because a lot of variants are obviously 2000 and up. It's single signed. It's so funny. Before I show the book, this book was on eBay when it came out. It was like $25-$30. I was like, I'm not paying $25-$30 for that book.
Right.
I'm glad I did, because after that I had it graded. It came back a CBCS 9.8. I cracked it. I pressed it. I had it signed by the cover artist, and it came back a 9.6. I just Spider-Verse number 2, the Greg Land variant.
Man,
So,
love it.
I mean, this book, it's awesome. I'm huge. If you guys follow me, if you see any of my variant spotlights, you see me on Instagram, I'm always posting Spider-Gwen stuff. It's funny, Gorilla Grodd, he just said, sell me one of those Spider-Gwen ones. And to show you how much I love Spider-Gwen, today I found not 1, not 2, but 3 copies of the Spider-Gwen annual
Jesus.
nerd comic block
Yeah.
variant. If you go on eBay, you'll see there's a raw one for about 100 graded, and then there's a graded one at 9.8 for like 300 bucks.
I've never even seen that. I don't even know. Like,
hey, Gorilla Grodd said he never saw it either. So I picked these up a couple weeks ago for like $18 to $20. The guy had 3 of them. I was like,
did you get them from Terrificon?
No, I
I
got.
thought you were holding out on us.
No. These were just really cool variants. So always
look,
custom Spider-Gwen.
that would be like that would be his rebuttal and his triple slap back at me.
I mean, I got a whole like CGC short box of all Captain Marvel stuff if you want me to bring it over.
Hey.
But what is the? Hold on, I got one for Justin. Justin, what is that Starfire book that you're after?
Oh,
which one is that?
Teen Titans 75, the Adam Hughes cover.
Oh yeah, we're flying, and it's like
all the Titans in the background, and Starfire's kind of predominant.
I've been looking for that too. Sorry, I've been looking for that too. I think everybody looks for that.
And it's a 1 in 10. That was the worst. I mean, it's a 1 in 10 variant, and it's like $700 book, and a great, graded or non-graded. It's unbelievable. So,
jeez. Let me give a couple quick shots out to the chat here. See what we got up in here. We got that's a long list of people. We got Y290, Sam I Am Comics, Unruly Simeon, Gorilla Grodd, Comic Books NYC, one of my moderators, Soli, Two Kings, Tacoma Comics. We got DS Comics, TiVo himself. We got Comic Book Brother. And then we've got, let's see who else is in here. Man from Beantown, Stay Puft, Steve Whiting, and Jeffrey's a lot better at this than me.
Tough to do everything,
Yeah, it is.
Talk, do StreamYard. We all know.
It's like I'm like, okay, I'm done. Shouts out to Mr. Gretzky. Oh, and the Hunt World Champion entered the chat. Shouts out to the immortal Biggie Shaq.
Yeah, that's great for a Monday night, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so. Man, let me show you my now my kids, like I said, my kids collect, and like my son, he not my oldest son, look at him looking at me right now, he's crazy. But my son Keegan, he loves Moon Knight. So these are his books right here. This is Moon Knight. I'm still working on getting him the Werewolf by Night, the
yeah, right. There you go.
Oh, that's a good book, yeah.
And then that's his other one. So right now, those are his top. Those are his top 2, and so
right, those are great books right there.
So
love it. Now, what do you think, Tony? Is he going to make it to the big screen? Or do you think he's going to go on Hulu, Netflix? I mean, we've talked about on Lords of the Long Box, but you think Marvel? You think Marvel's going to do it right?
I'd like to see, I'd like to see him do like the streaming service kind of. Really, I mean, like I know a big movie would be cool, but like. I'd like to see, how they did the Punisher and Daredevil was real gritty and stuff, street level. That's what he is. He's street level. So, start out, and it's like, but what I was always mad about with the Daredevil and all that and the Luke Cage was like, they never rolled them into anything that was like connective. And I guess they can do it now, I guess. So,
right.
So
we'll have to see what happens. But what other book, if you talk about books that are heating up, is his second appearance. The Moon Knight second appearance, Werewolf by Night 33, where he's on a cover too. I was at, we were at Terrificon. I was looking at it, and raw books were going for, you know, a couple $100. So, you know, there's definitely the buzz out about them and people are talking about it. So, you know, we'll have to see which way it goes, but great character, a great character.
Like I kicked myself because like a couple weeks ago I was on eBay and like there's a guy that put like it was like probably like a 4 or 5 and like he had put it on there. It was like for 300 or something like that. And I was gonna buy it for my son.
Right.
And like, but he had like the best offer thing, and like I should have listened to ETA Nick and just manned up and bought it. But I was like, hey, best offer. And like the dude didn't respond back, and he sold it for like 280 or something like that. And I was sick, man. I was like, and
I'd be sick too.
And I offered him like it was like 300 or something like that. He wanted three or more or something like that. He wanted, but it was just like I was sick, man. I was just like I felt like I let my son down that day. I was like, I was like, you pride yourself on being a champion, hunting stuff down, and you let that happen.
You let that go right out from under you. It's happened to me. There was one time where I missed out on a Hulk 181 before I bought this. I had actually, it was a funny story. I was on my way to New Jersey, Atlantic City, and I went to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, and they had a raw copy of it for a beautiful copy, which was like $400 or $500 at the time, which is above and beyond reasonable. But, you know, I'm a dad, I got 3 kids, I'm about to go on vacation. I'm like, I can't drop, you know, $400 or $500 on this book. So I was like, all right, if I win, I'll go back and pick it up. So 3 days. So that first night there, I won a couple $100 playing the cards. So I put that money aside. I drove back and we stopped at the Secret Stash and they sold it. And I walked in and Walt was there with Mike. And I go, is it still here? And they're like, what? I go, the Hulk 181. They're like, oh, you're that other guy. And I'm like, who's that? I'm the guy that didn't buy it, right? So they sold it right that day. So I come home, I unpack the kids, I go on eBay, and I'm bidding on a raw book, which was crazy at the time. And I'm up to like $500 or $600 on this book. I'm well above what I was going to spend. And there was like 2 minutes left, and I was still bidding on it. I had to literally take my phone and throw it in my yard because I had to because I had to get it off my possession because I was going to still keep bidding and paying like some ridiculous price for it. But I was like, no, I chucked my phone. I'm like, I had to walk away. Like it was just one of those things where I was like, I had such FOMO, you know, fear of missing out, that I said, this is too much.
Yeah.
So I definitely did that, man. So that's another funny story about missing out. So I feel you on that, Werewolf by Night.
Oh yeah.
So you know,
the one book, and I'll keep showing this book, and I always show this book because like this is like the first book that I actually hunted down, and I show it all the time because it's always one of my favorites, and I always show it, and I love this book.
Oh, nice, yeah, great book.
Sent it in raw, came back at
there you go. Look at that. Yeah, that's a book that I overpaid for, but that's okay. It's a great cover.
I bought it for $100 in the drive-through at McDonald's parking lot with my son. We were at the parking lot paying it, and I was on eBay, and I was like, it popped right up because you refresh, and then it popped up, and I was like, $100 sold. And
really?
My wife was like, you're an idiot.
Otto, don't you have that double sign?
Right? I do have that. I think I have. Well, I have a 9.6, Tony. Just so you know, I have a 9.6 that I bought from our buddy, one of our co-hosts, one of our sponsors, CGC Blue Label Comics on Instagram. To give him a shout out. He's also on the web. You can find him at Blue Label Comics, all one word. And I had it at a 9.6. I couldn't tell what was wrong with it. So I had Rocket Comics press it and sign it at, it's actually triple signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's triple signed. Terry Dodson. I can't think of the other 3. It was supposed to be quad signed. But
Terry,
Terry, Rachel,
Kelly Sue, Dominic, and Terry and Rachel Dodson.
Yeah. So one of them canceled. So I was going to have that quad signed. But I sent it to Rocket. They did a great job. It still came back at 9.6, even though it's triple signed. So again, I paid a bunch of money for it, but
still, like the triple signing adds the value to it.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sorry, but like Reggie asked me one time. He was like, what do you think the signature adds to the value of a book? I always say like a grade bump. Like, you know, like one grade bump to me is like the value, like a grade bump to me. So
right.
You still have a 9.8.
Yeah. You know, I believe that to an extent. I think it's, you know, that's it. I don't know, Justin, you think that on the signatures and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on the artist, writer.
Book,
I mean, if they're at every con, I mean, it doesn't help. Sometimes it actually hurts it, to be honest.
Right.
Like J. Scott Campbell goes to all these shows. Everybody wants J. Scott Campbell's signature. Art Germ Signatures, whoever it is. I mean, but if you have someone who doesn't go to a lot of shows, like say Adam Hughes, who goes to San Diego, he was at one other one this summer, and then he's going to be at Baltimore. Like, he spreads them out because he's so busy with his job, doing the art or covers, that's a good signature to have. There's a couple other people that don't do a lot of shows anymore. Tony Daniels, he's been doing Batman forever. I mean, I got a sketch from him 6 years ago for $40 was a head sketch. Now I remember 2 years later, a head sketch was $100.
Right.
Wow. Now a head sketch is like $200 from him.
Yeah.
But I do want to stop the show real quick because Tim did just send us another Black Knight report. So we are dropping news right now.
All right, here we go. This is live, Tony. Tony, this is dropping right now.
Exclusive
right now.
Right on your show. It's Tim goes, Deathbird planned for either Captain Marvel 2 or 3. So we all know Deathbird from the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
And Quasar is placed on a future MCU film.
Really?
Oh, snap.
And they don't know if it's the male or female Quasar yet. So that is a little specking for you guys who are watching this. Either
I got the first appearance of the female Quasar.
You do? Okay.
It's Captain Marvel. It's Captain Marvel. I should have pulled it up, but I didn't because I was like, man, that's crazy.
Just for you, Tony, live tonight.
It's Janice Vale, and Janice Vale, I think, is the female Captain Marvel. I think that's the one. The Quasar. I mean, female Quasar. I think it's Janice Vale. I can't remember. I think so.
You're right.
I always liked Quasar. Quasar was always a cool character.
Yeah.
Deathbird too, though. So
Deathbird's a good character. I mean, she pops up in Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the low numbers. I think it's like 8 or 9.
Yeah, number 9 is her first appearance.
She's on that cover where the Captain Marvel's team first shows up. She's on that cover in that book, that Avengers book. Deathbird's on that cover.
Yeah.
So,
you know what's great about that number 9 is that's Claremont did the writing. Byrne and Cockrum were the artists. So that's a good book to go after. So I don't know who's going to hit eBay after this, but you might be bidding with me.
I'll tell you what hit eBay a lot today was a Nova number 1.
Right.
Oh my God. I mean, that dropped, that news or that video, if you guys watch that video, the Russos saying about the tweet about saying that Nova did appear in the final battle, go check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in our Lords of the Long Box chat, and I think I said about 10 to 15 sold by like 4 o'clock today. So I'm sure if I check that number now, I mean, it's probably double that. So,
man, let me go put my reader copy on there.
Yeah, there you go.
I have about 6 or 7 copies. So, but then it's funny because literally a couple hours later, Kevin Feige comes back saying, "Oh, that it wasn't true."
Yeah,
he was trying to retract it, kind of like saying to the Russos, kind of.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll have to see. So breaking news right here on What's Your Grail.
What's Your Grail? So hey,
all right. So 2 books to go after. But Tony, I do want to say though, I do have 2 books that I had signed at Terrificon. I had 1 book that I had signed at Terrificon. Now, this book for me, I didn't send it into CBCS. So this book right here might not be a big book for anybody, but it is for me. This is my X-Men 96. And this was a big book.
That's been hasn't that been heating up?
There has been some talk about it. Yeah.
Like what's her name in there?
The first appearance of Maura McTaggart.
Yeah.
McTaggart, that's right. But when I was 12 years old, I actually got to meet Dave Cockrum, who is my favorite artist of all time. And I don't know if I'm doing it justice with this camera.
Oh, hold on, let me zoom in on you. There we go.
He actually signed the inside copy of it.
Oh, the bottom down there, huh?
The bottom, yeah.
Yeah, you can see it, yeah.
Yeah, you can see it right there. So I've been sitting on this book for forever. And then this past 2 weeks ago at Terrificon, I had Chris Claremont sign it. So Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum did sign this. And while I was there, Claremont likes to sign on the X-Men logo. I asked him to sign on the inside part of it. He had no problem with it. I asked him what Dave Cockrum was like because, with some artists, you do find out a lot of information. He said Dave was an absolute brilliant genius. He could write things and he could bring things up that were just unbelievable. If Chris gave him an idea, he would just sit there and sketch until, he came up with a great idea. And I was going to mention this on 3 Men in the Basement, but since I'm still talking about it now with the X-Men, when I was waiting in line with Chris is like a Steranko, Claremont. He loves to tell stories, okay? He loves to tell stories about all his stuff, and rightfully so. You should listen to it because this is what was happening back at Marvel at the time. I mean, these guys were the creators and the writers. And we talked about X-Men 95. I said, why did Thunderbird have to die? He said, Thunderbird had to die. He goes, somebody had to die. But when they were talking about it, there was talk in the bullpen to kill off Wolverine, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yes, that was talked about because in the storyline, there was a story that they were going to do where all the X-Men were in one location and the Danger Room gets destroyed, like not just, done work to it, but got destroyed. And it was Thunderbird. And Claremont said in his writing, in his view, Thunderbird was the biggest hothead of the group. He was always mad. He was always angry, where Logan was just downright mean or stuff like that. But Thunderbird was the hothead. And there was talks of killing Wolverine in that plane instead of Thunderbird. And to me, that was absolute mind blowing. Could you imagine the Reaper? That's like a what if.
Yeah. Well, I know, I've done I've read because I like Thunderbird and I have 95.
Yep, absolutely.
And I've read it, and it's like, in there he tells Charles, get out of my head. He's like, and it's, I can see where you're coming from on that, because he does play in that role. He doesn't listen to anybody. Even when he dies, because Banshee tells him, let go. I'll get you. And he's like, nope,
that's it. I'm going. That's it. And I always liked Thunderbird. I thought he was a great character. I like the different versions that they do with him now and stuff like that. I thought. The Proud Star character was really cool, but that was a lot of fun. And I was going to save it for 3 Men in the Basement, but since we're talking about X-Men, we're talking about Claremont. It was just unbelievable. He did tell me some other stories, which were really cool that, we'll just brush on another time.
Well, speaking of Claremont and X-Men, this is the only one that I have. That's like,
there you go.
We
were just talking about that last week. On Lords and Long Box.
Look at that.
It's the first print, bought it raw, and had it graded. And it's the only one that I like. I've got the God Loves, Man Kills, and the Captain Marvel.
Yep, great
those
books.
are raw. I read those.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I read those. This one, I just wanted to have it graded because it's like, hey.
Yeah, no, that's great. Then you know what? The God Loves, Man Kills, the Captain Marvel. There's two other books that are really good, which nobody really talks about. One is called The Futurians, and that's a Dave Cockrum book. And then there's another one that John Byrne actually wrote with Ron Wilson was the artist, and it's called Super Boxers. And those are those graphic novels. Those graphic novels were great reads. Those are part of Marvel history. They're just fantastic books.
Hold on, I gotta help out Nemesis because I know we're berating him with a lot of Marvel stuff here.
Yeah.
So let me throw out a few DC hitters for him. So these are some, wait. Well, I'm gonna show this one real quick before all you Superman fans, but I'm a Booster Gold fan, so
all right.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I always love that cover, but this is you already know because there's some DC for you.
Yeah, Matina right there. Love it.
Yeah.
Matina.
Love it.
And then
I love that. Right, that's the variant, right?
Yep.
So I'd like to get that, and there's two Crush copies I would love. I'd love to get those at the same grade as the first Lobo. So if I had all three of those at 9/8, that would be so linear. It'd just be crazy. It'd be absolutely nuts to get all three of them.
Yeah, you and your linear collecting.
That's right.
It's the worst, Tony. It's the absolute worst. I never cared about getting certain books in certain grades until I met Otto. I don't even know. There's some books that I have that I'm like, I have a 9.2. But then I also have a 9.6 and a 9.8. Now I need a 9.4 just to make all
just to make it all linear. It just looks better, Tony. It just looks better when you've got two books.
Or even it's just like I got a Shazam 1 in an 8.0.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to get the Shazam 28 with the first
Black Adam. You've got to get it.
I got to get it in 8.0 So I scoured the universe for an 8.0.
Right.
Well, this is I'm gonna give this to you because this is your fault because I actually did this because of you, and I call them the twins.
Yeah, there we go.
And you can't have one without the other. That's what I always say. You got to have.
No, exactly. Look at that. That's so linear, Tony. Bravo to you, buddy. You win on that one. Look at that. Fantastic. They look better together. You put them on. Hey, who cares? You over and you're like, look, it matches. It's perfect.
Yeah. I think my biggest, and Otto knows this and he's seen this, is my Flash 106, 107, and 108.
Yeah.
The Grodd trilogy.
Right.
I have all of those in a 3.0.
Right.
Really?
And that was it. I knew once I bought the 106, I was like, I got to get the 107, the 108. In 3.0s, they got to match. They got to be linear
Right.
across the board.
That's
and
great.
It's all Otto's fault.
Man.
Yeah. So I'll take it. That's a good problem to have, though. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So Tony, I don't know if you saw the one of our 3 Men in the Basement shows from Terrificon when.
I watched a few of them.
So when Tom King came on and talked about all the DC stuff news, Justin, you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, our second DC show.
Yeah,
second live show. Yes,
yeah, the second show.
Absolutely. So our second live show was me, Otto, Roger Levesque, the other 3 Men in the Basement member. Yep. We had Very Gary there.
Yes, absolutely.
We had your friend Todd.
Yeah, my buddy Todd was there. Not a collector, but a fan.
Yeah, just a fan. And we're kind of just shooting the shit, doing our hour-long show. It's great because it's right in the lobby of one of the floors. Just talking to everybody, anybody walking by. We kind of talked. There was a bachelorette party that walked by.
That was so funny.
Yeah, I know. We just looked like a bunch of losers.
Roger's talking about Dinobots and Grimlock, and there's like 6 girls all go to a bachelor party, and our jaws drop like 15-year-olds in high school.
Yeah, so it's great. People come off the elevator. You just say, "Hey, did you go to the show?" Hey, and unfortunately, Otto's an old school collector. I'm a more modern collector. I'm a younger guy. I'm 10 plus years younger than him. So, I know the younger guys. Quick story. We were standing outside. I saw Ryan Stegman and Donnie Cates, and I'm like, "You know who these guys are?" And he's like, "No." I'm like,
"No," but I knew there was somebody.
I knew there was somebody because they had the badges. So anyway, we're about 50 minutes into our show. Guy comes off the elevator. Otto's like, hey, have a good time at the show. All of a sudden, boom, me and Very Gary, who is it? Tom King. We're like, no way. Tom King is on our floor, and his room was right behind where we were taping. So we just said, hey, do you mind sitting down? He jumped down like no problem. He was an amazing, that is just so awesome for a writer just to kind of sit down and chat with us. He was funny. He wasn't like uptight. I mean, he was, cursing. He was making fun of us.
Oh God.
It was the perfect thing. And, even right before that, Roger was talking about his story with Billy Tucci. He spent 30 to 45 minutes talking to him. And that's what it is. A lot of these artists and writers, if they spend the time with you and tell you a story, it's the absolute best thing, because it's like, we'll be talking about this until next Terrificon and see who comes up next year,
Right.
I constantly am telling people, oh my God, did you see our live show? Did you see who we ran into? Like, did you see who just stopped by? So, I mean, it was just unbelievable. So if you guys aren't subscribed up to 3 Men in the Basement, please sub up. Check out that live show. It was great.
Link is in the description.
Yes, thank you.
It was so good. I mean, we all got to ask him questions. Obviously he could tell us some things. He couldn't tell us all things, but you know what? We at least had a great time with a huge artist on the DC side. Or I'm sorry, writer.
Right. So I screwed up a little bit.
You screwed up. That's why I'm looking at your sketch and I'm like, yeah, he's the artist.
Yeah. So somebody says to him, so do people get sketches from you? And he kind of makes fun of it. So, again, you guys, I know, like, I have Mr. Miracle upstairs. Like, I know who Tom King was, but I just didn't make the whatchamacallit. So I asked him, my first question was, so who's your favorite artist? Like, who do you emulate? And he's like, artist. And right there, I knew I put my foot in my mouth. But then he started talking about his writers. And I was like, that was really cool. And one of his favorite writers was Frank Miller. And by far, one of my favorite runs was the Frank Miller Daredevil. And I told him that, the 181, the death of Daredevil, and we joked about that. It was really good. But they talk about a personal grail there, Tony. This is something I'll never get rid of. This was a sketch that Tom King did. So if you guys don't know, by trade, I'm a teacher. I'm a science teacher. I work in a high school. And he asked me what I did for a living. And I said, I'm a teacher. I teach science. And he's sitting there giggling, and he starts drawing these like stick figures. And he's really giggling. And then the next thing I know, I've got all these different versions of Batman. It's called the de-evolution, if you can't see it. The de-evolution of the Bat. He says, I'm sorry. He writes science in it. So it's all these different versions. And then he was so what was really cool about it was he was so giggling about it. They actually took a picture of it for his own phone. So somewhere along the way, Tom has that. So this is another one of my grails, Tony, that I don't think I'll really ever get rid of, because I'll never get rid of it. There's no reason I should. I mean, who would buy it? You know what I mean? So just a really, really cool book to have. So
Now, Nemesis was saying something about the Flash, and lately I've been picking up Flash stuff left and right. And this is one of my grails that I picked up. And this is Flash
Nice.
123, Flash of Two Worlds. A lot of stuff happens in this book, man. First Golden Age Flash and the Silver Age, origin of both. First mention of Earth 2, first Silver Age Shade and Thinker and Fiddler appearance.
Woo! Oh, that's a great book right there.
I've
That's a
always
great
liked the
book.
cover. I've always liked the cover.
That's great.
Yeah, last year was a big Flash year for me. I don't know why. It's funny. I started with a top 6 2018 want list. I don't even think any Flash books were on my want list. I ended up getting Showcase 8, Flash 105 through 115.
Right.
Man.
First 10 books, all graded. You know, I don't know why. I just went with the Flash here. It was weird.
Crazy.
I totally went off my 6 books, and I didn't even finish my list. So.
No, yeah. And then he's like sending it to us. I'm like, oh my God. Meanwhile, I'm like chipping away. You know, I think when I do my want, I made it too unattainable. Like I put and I put grades in it too. So now I'm like so OCD that I'm like, I've got to like get it in that grade or it doesn't work out. But I've got to put that list to pass because I can't mess with that. So, you know, that's it. Those are great books. Now, was that an eBay purchase, Tony?
Oh, that book? Yes, this was.
Yeah.
I actually bid on this, and I actually it was a stealth buy and a snipe actually too. So
you sniped it up. There you go.
So somebody's probably mad at me about that one.
Well, you know what? It happens. You know what we say? Trains go east and trains go west.
Oh yeah. So is there another Grail that you got? I see one over there. I think I see one, Otto. What you got there?
I got 2 more books. So this book is a fun book. And again, it was something that I did the time for. I bought it raw. And when I first started getting back into cons, the first big artist that I met was Steranko. And I didn't realize he was such a talker. I thought the guy just liked me, you know what I mean? But then I realized he just talks to everybody, which is great. But I had great conversations with him. And I really it was fun to hear all the different stories and things that he says. So my LCS, which is, you know, like our little honey hole, this guy gets collections all the time. I mean, he pays peanuts for them and he'll sell it to us for good prices, but you never know what you're going to find. So I did find raw, this Captain America 111. So I bought this raw, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't pay much for it, you guys. I honestly
still don't have a Steranko. I don't have a Steranko signature, and I want it on that book. That right there is like,
yeah. So I went, and so when there was a bunch of cons coming up, and we're up here in the Northeast, and Rhode Island is a pretty big con. They get some pretty big names, but they do, and Tony, you'd appreciate this. They get tons and tons of wrestlers. Like I met Jimmy Snuka. I had a beer with. Oh my God! I was buying a beer. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was right behind me. I bought a beer for him, and I go, how's that beer? Pretty good. He goes, yeah. I go, how'd it feel when Macho Man hit that the
ring bell?
He goes, my neck still hurts, buddy. Okay. So I brought up WrestleMania 3 with him with that too. That was funny. But Joe Sinnott, Jim Steranko, and Stan Lee were all at this show. So my main job was to have all 3 of them sign this book and get it off to CGC. So I did have Steranko sign it first. And then I went over and I met Joe, and he's got a beautiful sig. And then I waited 4 hours in line to meet Stan. And Stan did sign it in the lower bottom part. Not one of his better signatures, but still a good signature for Stan at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I had
let me zoom in. Hold on a second. Hold that up, because I got to zoom in on
there
this.
You go.
There we go. Look how crispy and clean that is. Look how bright the colors is.
Yeah. So they gave me off-white pages on it. But again, this is books from, like, what are we looking at? We're looking at 1969. Jesus Christmas. You know what I mean? So, but the book's beautiful. I did the time. I did the work for it. So not anything that I'm gonna pass up. So just absolutely one of my favorite books to have. So another Grail, Tony, that I wanted to show on your show tonight. But thank you for asking.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Like I'd go pull the caps out, but I mean I could, but like I don't, you know. Like,
no, it's all right. I'm sure Justin's got something else.
Well, what do you got, Justin?
Oh, all right.
All right, here we go. Here comes
here is a huge book which you don't ever see.
Let me put it on him. Let me put the camera on him.
So this is a book you never see. I'll tell you the story before I show it. I had the money for this book. I was willing to bid a crazy amount of money for this book, and then the guy also had another book. I ended up losing. It was first in the eBay auction. I ended up losing it, so I was like, you know what? I'm going all in on this book. Funny story is 3 months later, the guy who bought the first book didn't finish paying. And the guy contacted me and said, hey, do you want that book? I know you
really.
I was like, absolutely. Wow. So the book that I lost, but I still ended up getting, was the first Batwoman in a CBCS like 3.5. So Detective Comics 232 or 233. But the book that I was just like, I'm going all in, was The World's Finest.
Ooh, look at
Ooh.
First
Oh.
Scarecrow. Yes.
That's a heat.
And a 7-0.
Yes.
That is a
That is
banger.
big time 7-0. I mean, I was like, I'm going to go balls to the wall for
Right.
Jonathan Crane Scarecrow. He's my favorite villain. I would have paid tons and tons of money, but I got this for a steal. So
that is clean because like the cover too, just like the Batman played Man, come
Classic,
on, man.
classic.
you don't get any better than, you know, old school. You got Zatara.
Oh, I never saw the back. I never saw the back of that.
Never seen the back. First time here. No,
no, that's it. That's unbelievable. Justin, if I were to guess, that book is what? 64 maybe? Is that?
Oh, 1941.
41. Oh, what do I know?
Dang, Golden Age. Ooh.
Yeah.
41.
Golden Age.
Yeah, I mean, you got names on here like
where's JD Flair at?
You got Bill Finger, I mean, you got nobody on here. Siegel's in here. He did stories. I mean, this is Bob Kane did the cover.
Oh my God!
Oh no, he did the art in here.
That's older than my cat book. My cat book's 44.
It is old.
Right.
That is
at a 7. Oh my God!
Dang.
You know, I wonder how many books those are in the census. You know what I mean?
I would love to crack it and switch it over to CGC, but I don't even want to touch it.
I wouldn't either.
I'm not even that book is. I mean, I can't imagine if I even tried to list that on eBay. I would do like a high number and a best offer to see what people would kind of sell, kind of bid just to be a dick. But it's a great, what it is. Never go. I mean, I'm a Batman guy through and through. If you guys,
I knew you were going to bring that book out too. I knew that book was coming out.
Are you thinking the other book's going to come out too that I just got from Terrificon?
That might come out too. That's a banger too.
Yeah. All right. Wobbles wants to know: is it restored or is it just?
It was. I think it had color touch. It only had color touch. Small amount of color touch on cover.
But still at a 7.0, man.
I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, 41.
I'm sure send it to CCS. They could unrestore it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the book is thick. It's a thick book bound. But you know what? It's still a beautiful book in a 7.0. So
right, and it was a 15 center, which is that's
15 cent. Yeah.
For a book from the 40s, that's what kind of threw me off. But,
yeah, because I was like 15 cent. I was like, I just lost a match for 15 cents. But I'm gonna show a little quick independent because you were talking about independent. So I'm gonna show this. And this is gonna be funny because I like this character though. But Savage Dragon.
Yeah, there you go.
Megaton number 3.
Yeah.
One of my Savage Dragon Grails. But to go with it, because like I'm on the mission of getting all the first issues of like all the Image comics signed.
Right.
Like either signed or graded and like signed all by the artist or whatever. And so I doubled up on
there we go.
Doubled up on Larson there. So I got 2 of the Larsons. And then TJ tells me never to show this book, but I always show it because I always laugh at him when I show it. TJ's like, quit showing that book. TJ the Slab Dragon tells me, quit showing this book, but I'll show it every day. 9.9, Image United, signed by Rob Liefeld, Walsh Patacio, Ryan Otley, and as well as, what was the last person that signed it? Oh, Jim Valentino.
Wow. I mean, that's Image all the way. Look at that.
9.9. This is the cornerstone of my in my Image. Like when I get it all done, like And then I had the where was the
like got boxes of slabs all over the place.
Not TJ style, but I got some. But there's my Wildcats number 1 signed by Jim Lee.
Yeah, right. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I got a box full of that's all the Image stuff.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I like Savage. Savage Dragon was always a cool character. I like Savage Dragon. I like the Pit. Max was always
Pit
cool.
was good. Yeah.
And not Wildcats. What was the other? Was it Cyberforce?
Cyberforce, yeah.
Cyberforce.
I got a 9.8 signed by the first appearance of them signed by Silverstream.
Oh,
I
nice.
got it done at C2E2. Matter of fact, I met Ming. Me and Silverstream are in a picture together when he signed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's great. That's great. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to meet those guys. I met Liefeld once. And I say nothing good or bad about it. It was fine. He autographed some stuff for me. I actually had him double sign a print for me. and he did a little Deadpool head for me. And he actually, what's unique about it is he used his comic signature and his personal signature on it. So I thought that was pretty neat. And he didn't gouge me out. I know he gets beat up for social media, stuff like that, but it is what it is, you know. So all right.
So I know Otto's waiting for this. So for the guys who don't follow me, for the guys who do follow me, you guys know I work on Batman. Currently, I have Batman Volume 1, 100, all the way up to now.
What?
And I'm working. Yeah, it's sick. It's sick. I'm currently working pre-100. I had 2 books under 100. The only 2 books I had was a First Deadshot and First Mad Hatter.
I love that book.
It's a great book. It's got a Joker cover. So, and First Vicky Vale is included in that. But so I was at Terrificon. This book was one of one at the show.
But hold on, I want to preface this by saying Justin prides himself on not buying big books at big cons. Okay, he goes for the art. He goes for the sketches. He goes for the fillers. He goes, so when he goes to big cons, you know, because some of the, unless you can get good deals, you know, a lot of the stuff is a little bit jacked up over GPS, stuff like that. So Justin definitely does not. This is so funny, man. Like, you got to be like sitting next to me when he bought it. Like, he was like hugging it, coddling it. So
let's look at the post story. After I bought it, what did I come up to you and say?
He goes, I'm going home. I'm leaving. I'm like, what do you mean, you're really leaving? He goes, yeah, I'm done. I can't buy anymore. I'm like, oh my God. So Justin does not buy, Nemesis Prime does not buy big books at big cons. So what do you got? What do you got?
Well, let me see this. We got.
So it was a package deal. It was a Batman 36 and a Batman 85, both CGC 3.0s, but the cream of the crop, the highest Mona Lisa of the deal, which again was, I believe, I'm 100% this was a one of one at show, was a Batman 42.
Oh my God!
First Catwoman cover.
What?
Yeah. So
y'all see the hero girls, man. This is they're bringing the heat.
Yes, I'm a huge Gotham City Sirens fan. Selena Kyle. I never expected to get this in this high.
Look at, he's still giggling.
He's still
No, it's great. I'm telling you, I'll let me put this book down and I'm gonna show you the other book.
All right. Dang, it's 7-0. Woof. Man.
Again, another book from the 40s.
Yeah. I'm actually waiting to do this on my, on the variant spotlight, but here is the most recent Art Germ foil cover that matches.
Oh, yeah.
So this book is coming with me to New York Comic Con.
I get it. That's the bottom part of the page. I didn't realize that was.
Yeah.
So let me put that one down. So yeah, that's what it looks like.
Oh,
that's sick.
That's linear, right? I mean, it's.
Well, this ain't coming back in a 7.
No, that's okay. You get a pass on that.
No, but this is why he what it is. So I didn't even take this out of the sleeve yet. I put it in Mylar. Yeah. But yeah, that's a book I guarantee you don't ever see.
No,
I've never seen that before. That's nice.
And he goes, I'm leaving. I go, we're here all weekend. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He goes, I gotta go. I'm like, all right.
I feel him on that one.
I can't eat.
I can't eat, right? He's like, yeah, your kids got any food up there I can have? Any pizza left over?
All right. So I'm gonna show this one. Like you were talking about Rob Liefeld. Yeah. So this is when I met Rob Liefeld. This is the reason how I got back into collecting. This is why I'm back on YouTube. Rob Liefeld is the reason why we're all here right now.
Right.
And it's because of this book.
Oh, there you go.
So it's signed by, and like they gave him crap, but like he was real cool. Like he took a picture of me and my son for free.
Yep. Right.
He signed the card for free because it fell out because I opened the bag up. I was like, I want him to sign the book.
Yep.
And the card fell out, and he just like picked it up and signed it. And I was like, do I have to pay for? I asked him, I was like, do I need to pay for that? And he was like, no, it's cool.
Right. Okay.
Then he was like, do you want to take a picture? And I was like, yeah. And I grabbed my son and we took a picture. So like,
see, that's a great story. See, this is what we talk about, Tony. I'm going to interrupt, but it doesn't take too much just to be nice, right? Barry Gary talks about it as well. Like when you have a great experience and you hear about the bad experiences, that was your great experience. So that's awesome. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like that great experience led into all of this. Like it gave me, I got bit, man. I got bit by a bug, and that's it. And like I've been having the fever ever since. And my wife's like, "Go sit your ass down somewhere."
That's awesome. You know what? I did bring up one more book, and I know we're going on about an hour, but I will show out the banger, and I'll talk a little bit about this book. And so I'm a completist a little bit too, as far as what I run. So I'm very fortunate. I have X-Men 1 to 300. because that's really when I stopped. Yep.
1 is my grail. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying, like, I got 4. I got 4.
Yep. There you go. So this is my X-Men number 1, 3.5.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it's an old label. All right.
So
but,
you know you press and clean it, right?
Well, here's
100%.
Oh my God! Again, no, I don't want it to leave. So I
How
really
is it
should.
Reholder.
Bring
Bring it to Baltimore on site.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's a good point. So here's what's interesting about this book. It says under the writing, X-Men number 1, BG 3.5, off-white pages, 1963. It says Stan Lee written first page first page in marker. Now, I don't know if it's a kid who wrote Stan Lee or if it's really Stan Lee who wrote his name in this book, and I don't know.
You don't want to crack it open to find out.
I don't, because it's like an old label. I mean, the book is structurally in good shape. I mean, the more and more I look at it, I'm like, it could handle it, but the back has some it definitely has some like offset right here, like some bends. So I don't know, if the whole thing is intact, it would say it, but I'm afraid that I've opened it up and the thing turns to dust, it's gone. So I honestly don't know what to do with this book. But again, I'm not.
It's like Wobble said, that's like a 5K book.
Yeah. So I don't know. And imagine if it goes up to a 4. I mean, if I press it and clean it and I get the thing up to a 4 again,
man,
but again, I don't know. It is what it is.
Let alone if the signature in there is Stan Lee's.
Yes.
That's a bump in itself right there.
Exactly. So, but you know what? I'll sleep on it. I'm sure Justin will convince me, or TiVo, Dark Side Jedi will be in my ears, or who's notorious for getting in my ear is Dennis for Comics. He gets in my ear all the time with something. Oh, you can't have that book in this. You got to get it at this grade. Oh, your page quality stinks. You got to get it white pages. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Dennis, my head's spinning after I talk to him. But he's a good friend to 3 Men in the Basement, so he's a good ally to have. So Tony, those are all my grails, man. That's all I pulled out.
Hey, you had enough, man. I'm gonna show a couple, like 2 more, but I've shown them before, but I'm gonna show them because you said you're a Wolverine fan.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show that one. I don't got 181. I got 180.
Love it. Right.
But it's heating up though. Like this
That's
one's
it.
like, it's on fire. So that,
because the other book is becoming unattainable. So
exactly.
Now, good for you on that book.
And then here's some more 90s goodness, but with a twist. New Warriors number 1. I show this off all the time. I don't care. New Warriors was the stuff back in the 90s for me. Signed by Stan Lee and Mark Bagley. Line 2. So and the good Stan Lee signature too. Look,
that's free.
yeah, right. That's what it's unbelievable.
That's pre-handler.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Where you don't even know if it's his signature or not. Oh,
yeah. And that's like crazy because they were talking about, I was telling a buddy of mine at work about that, and he was like, yeah, weren't they doing stuff? I was like, man, his family, like the handler, like his company, they were all in his pot trying to, get whatever they could.
Whatever they could, suck it right out of him.
Yeah. So it was just like, and one last book I want to show because.
There you go. Can't go wrong with it. Can't go wrong.
Ever since they brought Apocalypse back in the House of X and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, they said this has been. So there's hope. There's hope, people.
There is hope for that book. There's hope. Not to keep name dropping, but when I was talking to Claremont and he was talking to the crowd, not necessarily talking to me. I was talking to Chris Claremont. I met him. Good friend of 3 Men in the Basement.
All right. Chris
Claremont. Actually, his Instagram name, for all you guys don't know, is Chris Clare Mountain.
I did not know. And I've looked many times.
Yeah, no, it's Chris Clare Mountain, and which was funny because you could tell he kind of runs it, his own social media. So, but yeah, and Tony, you could go through my page and find it because there's a picture of me. So I definitely tagged him in that. But he had this whole storyboard about how he could have he wanted to make Apocalypse much better than the way the movie portrayed it. And to hear him talk about that was pretty neat. So if you guys see Claremont at any shows coming up, I know he was just in New Mexico, bring up the Apocalypse and he'll give you a great story for it. So just a cool story. So
do it, Otto. Say it.
No, this guy.
It's Mahershala Ali.
It's Mahershala Ali. Like I've practiced it a dozen times over. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, exactly. Because you said it. I would have stumbled over my words. So yeah, some little Lords of the Long Box inside stuff here. Mahershala Ali is going to play Blade. I don't know if you guys have known this, but a little bit of stuff that we talked about. Tony, is that a book that you have? First Blade?
First Blade, no, I do not have the First Blade. And like, what's sad is like, that's one of the books like I've been looking at, and I love Blade, and it's like I've been looking at that,
Right.
And it's like, you know how you put stuff off, like, oh,
now you can't. Now
it's always, yeah. And I was like, man, I should have got it. That's like Eternals. Like I was at a shop one day, and like there was just an Eternals #1 newsstand sitting on top of long boxes,
right?
And I was like, I get it later. I walked past it, and I bought something else, and then like the news dropped or whatever. Then like it was like I was like, oh man, forget. Like those are the times I kick myself. You know,
it
like,
happens to me all the time, man.
I felt like that when I bought my first Deadshot. He was on Arrow, and like the book really wasn't going anywhere. I was working on my Batman villains, and then Suicide Squad got announced, and he was going to be it, and I was just like,
yeah.
And the book went like skyrocketed. And I was like, damn it, I gotta get it now or never, like type of thing.
Yeah. It's like ridiculous. Like, and it's like some of the books you just got to get, but it's like some of them, like I'll show you my favorite all-time book that, and it's an independent book. I show it all the time. I don't care. It's first print. I show it. Double signed in the front. James O'Barr signed it.
Oh yeah.
Signed it in the front.
I've never seen that.
He's a really nice guy to talk to. My LCS owner always stops by and chats with him at New York Comic Con. He's definitely a nice guy, and he if he ever has like a book or whatever at the show, my LCS owner will definitely buy it. He'll do a little sketch inside.
There's
really
a sketch on the back.
He's super nice.
So it's like double signed, sketch on the back, first print, Grail.
Love it.
Like
That's
Grail,
great.
Just Grail for me. Love that book.
Love it.
But y'all guys got anything? I mean, I know y'all do got stuff coming.
No, I mean, that's how
I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more.
Okay.
Justin's got one more bag.
I got tons of stuff, but I brought like 5 or 6. This book I've bought at least 4 times. I've upgraded it. I went from having a raw copy, no pinup. You can guess what it is if it's no pinup.
It's the other one.
I went to a 4.5. I went to a 5.5, and now I'm at my highest. I'm at a 7.5.
Look at
First
that.
Poison Ivy.
Oh,
that is 181.
That is the other 181, right?
The other 181. When someone says 181. This is a great cover. I mean, it just the red. It's a cream to off-white pages, but I mean, the red just pops.
Yeah, like I've seen some like. Y'all been pulling out some bright books tonight, man.
I told you, man, I'm all about cover. This thing could have been a 4.0, but if this was a beautiful cover, I still would have bought it.
Right.
Because that's what it's all about, is a beautiful, bright colors that really make it pop. So if you can display this, you can display it proudly, not some, chipping all over, which I've seen, it's a great book. So.
I actually don't own that book graded. I've got a nice raw copy, but I don't have one graded now. I got a little envy right there, buddy. That's a nice book. But you know what, though? It's funny because you wonder how many books of that are in the census versus how many Hulk 181s at that grade. And, Tony, we talked about this real quick. That Brave and the Bold 28, I'm very fortunate. I have one, too, that I sold my Walking Dead #1 for. Now, my Walking Dead #1 was a good book for me, but I bought it raw. I did the work. I had the 2 and 3, but they weren't all 9/8, so it wasn't linear. But what was the biggest deal breaker for me was, and I said it before, was there was like 1,200 let's say there was 1,250 9/8 Walking Deads in the census in 9/8. That Brave and the Bold 28, there's only 1,200 in the entire CGC census of that book. So that's kind of turned where I've been looking at books and saying to myself, all right, how often do you see that book at that grade? And I tell you, Justin, I bet you don't see a lot of that Batman 181 in that grade a lot, because that's a great grade.
What do I have a 7.5? It's 108 right now. Universal
108. Unbelievable.
I'm gonna show this book real quick. This is for TiVo.
I
know he loves Bruce Lee, so I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, look at that.
Green Hornet #1.
Yeah.
That Kato goodness right there. But the best part of this book, though, I always tell people, is the back.
Oh, look at that. And that's something you wouldn't see. That's great.
With the photo, it's a photo, right?
Yeah, it's a photo. It's actually them. Yeah, it's a photo of them by the car and stuff.
I'm a huge Batman 66 fan, so that's.
So yeah. It's like, so, but like, you're linear, right? But like, I do stuff that's kind of weird, like this. Like, I got father and son. Like, I got.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, right? That makes sense. It's perfect, brilliant, brilliant.
And like the 3 and the 7 make a 10. So there
you go. That's awesome.
But TiVo said, "Let me get that."
yeah, right.
I was like, that was on my list actually, because like I was looking, like like I've always liked the Green Hornet, and I've always liked Bruce Lee, and then it was just like, you know, man, like, and just to find that book and to get it in this, like I did an eBay auction, like I fought hard to get that book.
Yep.
I didn't win the
Right.
hunt with it or anything, but I did win
There you
auction.
go.
So, oh hey, yeah. Tebow, yeah, I can have you and Darkseid on. Yeah, just hit me up and let me know, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can get y'all on for sure.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
do y'all got anything coming up?
No, yeah, 3 Men in a Basement. We're working on a few things. Justin, variant spotlight coming up, Justin.
Yeah, right. As soon as you get off of this video, it's already up.
So
I posted
it purposely, knowing that I was going to be on here, so I could talk about it. So once you're done with watching this live show, head over to our channel, 3 Men in a Basement. Check out top variants for this week. Just some quick Marvel and DC stuff. So be sure to check that out. I pretty much do that on a weekly to bi-weekly basis. So anything that's basically either cover Bs, 1 in 25s, 1 in 50s, 1 in 100s, kind of stuff that I like. And, you know, you guys should be definitely checking out. So check out the variant spotlight for this week.
yeah, and 3 Men in a Basement. We just made up some T-shirts. Justin and I are rocking them. So if there's anybody in a chat who's interested, click on our website, and you can order it from us. And they're $20 shipped. And we've got that. I'm also planning for you guys in the Northeast, September 21st. I'm going to have our second annual comic book swap, which was a lot of fun. The 3 Men in a Basement comic book swap, which we're going to have in a local pub outside of Newington, where we live, right outside of Hartford. I got that planned up. I reached out to a bunch of people. The next live 3 Men in a Basement show will probably be within the next week or two. We're trying to we got kids in sports right now. Trying to wrap up the summer, but the next live 3 Men in a Basement show would be pretty good. We're going to have a couple of guests on it using StreamYard. As we can see, Tony's just killing it with the graphics on StreamYard.
Yeah, nice.
And don't forget, tomorrow or Wednesday night, the next Black Knight report is coming out on the new Lords of the Long Box channel. So make sure you're subbed up to that one.
Subbed up. Yeah.
You know, you're subbed up to that one. Make sure you're watching the new Lords of the Long Box. And Tony, man, this has been great. I'm so happy we waited all summer long and we finally got on here talking up with you and stuff like that. So, you know,
I'm glad you brought Nemesis too. I'm glad.
Yeah, that's right, man.
This is awesome. I had a great time, man.
Yeah, so it was good. Sum up Tony's channel and all the things that he's doing. And, you know, on behalf of, you know, Lords of the Long Box and behalf of 3 Men in the Basement, I'm Otto. And thank you guys for watching this show. Awesome, Tony. Great.
And I just got a quick announcement. Friday, don't miss it. It's the Hunt Cover Championship. I got to defend my championship against Who Dat T. He's got a lot of big boy books, and, you know, the tone's all about the win. So
you're gonna drop the mic on this one, Tony? You're dropping the mic?
Hey, I've been known to throw the chat's elbow every once in a while. So we'll catch you next time on What's Your Grails, and hopefully we'll get TiVo and Darkside Jedi on here soon.
Yeah, we'll do it, man. It's a great community of people. Awesome.
Yeah. So you guys have a good one.